Things are gonna get crazy!
Most everyone's mad here.
Yes, it is time. We are about to get this started. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and gender fluid and all different genders, to AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. And boy, do we have a fun-filled episode for you today. Now, before I go and get this one started, I just want to go and give out a very quick shout out to the animators who have worked on BoJack Horseman, whom this week have officially been unionized. Yes, this was something that they have worked very hard in order to have better working conditions and better pay. There was a bit of a controversy going on happening behind the scenes with BoJack Horseman, but thankfully that got all resolved and they are now part of the Animations Guild, or the Animators Guild. It's one of the two, Animators Guild, Animations Guild. But the important thing is that now the animators working on BoJack Horseman, they have officially been unionized, and now things will be much better for them to work on the show. So major congrats for them on that massive achievement. But anyways, with all that said and done, we got a lot of great stories to go and cover, and a lot of very interesting trailers to go and discuss. Trust me, we will have a blast with this episode. So I would like to now go onto the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, are you all ready to rock in this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast? Let me hear it, guys. Are you all ready for this? Okay, let me see. Do we have people ready? Okay, perfect. People are ready. People are prepared. That is great. Now it is time that we shall go and get this started. And we are going to go and begin with our first story. And it was actually very important to note that if you guys are actually ready to rock, because with our first story, we are going to be looking at a trailer for one of the upcoming animated films coming out in 2020, which is going to be DreamWorks' sequel to Trolls, which is Trolls World Tour. So now, when it comes to the sequel, the only thing I could say at this point right now is just, all aboard!
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Tiny and Daddy, ow!
Yes, folks, that was the trailer for Trolls World Tour, which I will say right now, I believe is going to be coming out, I think, in March of 2020. I remember it was originally set for Valentine's Day, but oh, no. It says here that the release date is going to be April 17th, 2020. Now, before I really get into this and express my full thoughts, I want to go and start things off by expressing the positives, because there are actually some good things that I would like to note from what I have seen in the trailer. And first and foremost, what I actually really do like about this, which is also something that I highly enjoyed from the first Trolls movie, is actually regarding the animation. I think it pretty much continues that right now here with great animation. I really do feel like the visuals are just fantastic, and I love the way that they went to go and expand upon like the whole Trolls world, and we see all the different designs and the different types of characters, and of course like all the different colors that we do see throughout the whole thing, especially like in different areas, like in the world of funk, or suddenly when you go into classical, that's all golden, and then like techno, of course, like that's one where the colors are absolutely everywhere. And yeah, the animation, I feel like they really nailed it on this one. You could tell that the animators really express a lot of creativity and really go a lot more with what they can do with the world of Trolls, and also playing with the theme of music as well. You could see how, like, even in terms of the character animation, you could tell how some of their movements are a little bit more different. Like when you look at techno, for example, how like you look at the characters and the way that they move is a little bit more like a little bit mechanical. It's a little bit more robotic in a sense to keep with the theme of technology, and like to really stay within the realm of EDM, that it all sounds like it's coming out of a robot. Then also you got the world of like the whole country trolls, where they're kind of like centaurs in a way, where their lower half of the body is actually kind of like a horse's body, where they got like 4 legs and hooves and all that stuff. So they really planned this out visually, and they nailed the execution on how they look to pretty much visually interpret the types of music that they have delivered. And on top of that, another thing that I really love from this, at least from what they show in the trailer, is the world building. And that's another factor. I kind of touched a little bit in terms of how they execute it visually, but also just the concept of the world that they have expanded upon with the trolls, where there is 6 different worlds based on different tunes of music, like 6 different themes of music, and from there, that's how they all live in their own unique harmony, where the trolls that we all know directly from the first film, that's the world of pop, and then you got the world of funk, the world of classical, the world of techno, the world of country, and then the world of rock. That is actually a really cool idea, especially when Trolls really is a heavily music-themed movie. And I think for a music-themed movie, I think it's actually a really awesome idea where you actually play a lot with music, not just visually, but also with the story as well. So major kudos on them, and I do feel like those are really some strong points, and something that really does sell well in terms of what they're trying to pull off here with Trolls World Tour. I love the different worlds and how you can enter into different music genres, and like I said before, the way that they interpret that visually, it really nails it, where you go into the gritty world of rock, or kind of like the whole Western theme of country, or even like in classical, that it looks like it's set in the Baroque period, where like even the trolls, they look like little angels that came out of a painting during that period. Even the main conductor, I think it's supposed to be like some kind of either a Mozart or a Beethoven parody, which is kind of the direction that they want to do. And even the techno world, that's all multi-colored, it's heavily Coachella themed, or like Tomorrowland themed, like really tried to make it heavily based on this whole giant rave. It really is a beautiful looking world with a great world that is behind it. That's what I really do appreciate from this trailer. However, does this sell me that this is going to be a good movie? Honestly, not really, because I will say right now that when it comes to my thoughts on the first Trolls movie, I didn't really think that it was all that good. I love the animation, I think it was visually stunning, but when it comes to the writing, when it comes to executing the story, that's when it really has a lot of problems, where the story itself feels unoriginal and cliched, and it always feels like they're trying to really force out their message instead of letting it flow naturally and let it be smooth for audiences so that it can feel thought-provoking, or that they would be able to think for themselves regarding the kind of message that they want to go and deliver. But that's not what they did. Unfortunately, it just came out as kind of like your typical kids film that really wants to be hip and cool with the young crowd and really trying to sell hard on the music. Like, it focused a lot less on trying to be an actual movie and more just try to sell the music, which in a way it did kind of work on DreamWorks' favor, considering that Can't Stop the Feeling did end up becoming a little bit more popular than the Trolls movie itself. So going back into here, I do feel like the same problems are in this as well, where the story itself is very lacking in terms of the execution. And I don't know if it's just me. I've actually seen a few comments of this on social media, but the plot itself, and it is actually very true when you really do think about it, where there's a little bit too much similarities with Avengers Infinity War. I know it sounds weird, but really hear me out on this. Now, according to this trailer, the plot is supposed to be that Poppy, Branch, and the whole Trolls gang from the pop world, they have to go out and try to stop this rock troll from gathering all 6 strings in order to go and destroy all the worlds except for rock. In a way, it's a little bit similar, where, like, the rock troll, yeah, she's very similar to what Thanos wanted to do, where you got, like, instead of getting the Infinity Stones, now she wants to get the Infinity Strings. And from there, that's where I feel like, okay, the plot itself kind of feels a little bit generic in a way. Now I can actually see how the whole movie is going to be mapped out, and it's going to be predictable as hell. Where throughout the whole movie, it's just going to be an entire fetch quest to make sure that they gather all the strings before the rock troll does. But then by the end, the rock troll does end up getting all 6 strings, but then has to learn that, wait, you can't destroy the world. All the music has to live in harmony. All the music has to work together, like pop and rock and country and funk and classical and techno. We all have to live in harmony together, not just one to rule them all, but we all have to work together. You know, it's going to end up with that cliched story, and yeah, I'm not all that excited. And even in terms of the execution of the plot that they're doing with the way that they're setting things up, admittedly for me, the jokes that they got, yeah, they're not selling it well. So for me, I do feel like it is a little bit mixed, but I will give it that I am a little bit more open to this because, especially in terms of the animation and also in terms of the world building that they got in this, I think there could be a chance that it might turn out to be enjoyable, that there might be some great substance out of this, because at least with those 2 factors, I really am sold. So maybe I could be wrong with the element of the story, and maybe they'll do something unpredictable to actually make something that could be so much better than what they did in the first, but maybe I'll have a bit of a wait and see. Now, that is until they put in a little bit more in the frickin' trailer. Now, if they stopped, like, where the title is shown, like, I would be a little bit more open. But no, they gotta keep on continuing and really blew it. Like, they really messed this up when they introduced this little turd right over here. Frickin' Tiny Diamond. I don't know what the fridge is the point of this character, but oh god. It's just like whatever chances I wanted to give to this movie, they just threw it out the window and replaced it with this freaking Tiny Diamond. It's just, oh god. That little thing is just cringe. It's just, it came right out of nowhere. It felt absolutely pointless to all the things that we have seen so far, and it just seems like a random plug-in to have whatever celebrity that they got to voice this. I think they got the whole list here. Where is it? I thought, for a moment, I thought they listed who's going to be among the celebrities playing. Maybe they updated it, but yeah, or maybe it was from another YouTube channel. But yeah, the thing is, like, the addition of Tiny Diamond, it was just unbearable. Like that's where you're entering into the cliched territory that this is one of those animated films that's trying way too hard to be hip and cool with the young kids, that they really gotta force in this hip-hopping troll in order, which is literally what it is. Like, I think he even said it, like, when he came out, like, it's a hip-hop troll.
Hip-hop troll?
Tiny Diamond.
A hip-hop troll?
That's what she said. Yeah, it literally, like, Poppy had to literally spell it out. It's like, oh, look, it's a hip-hop troll, and then he has to go and make, like, his freaking, like, this little dumb mixtape thing. It was, oh, God. Like, this nearly ruined the trailer for me, and broke a lot of hopes that I would have for this trailer. So overall, I end up having a lot of doubts on it. Again, I do see the potential that they have with the animation and also with the world building. But in terms of the execution, that's what I'm really worried about. That's the part where I feel like, yeah, this might not turn out well. And it just feels like they're just going to be forcing out the music and forcing out the message, just like what they did last time. Again, if you guys are interested in checking this one out, it's not going to be out until like many months later, a little less than a year, coming out on April 17th, 2020. But for now, I really do need to wash off the taste of Tiny Diamond and whatever crap we got with this. So with that said, though, I would like to go into the chat wall, and I would like to ask you guys, what do you think of the Trolls World Tour trailer? Did you guys like the trailer? Did you not? Do you see the strong potential? Do you think it's going to be a massive disappointment? Let me know what you think. Okay, let's see what we have here. I see a lot of people already commenting. Let's see now. I'm lost and disappointment. How come World Tour has anything to do with the live show? And it really has a good experience for this trailer, especially rock music and hip hop. Pretty much to say all references are not connected to the live shows like Up in Smoke Tour and the Eminem show. This was a good trailer, 6 out of 10. Well, World Tour is not necessarily like they're gonna do a concert or anything like that. It was just like kind of the tagline for the sequel. Okay, let's see now. Let's be honest. This sequel is a cash grab so that the popular actors can get their money and go. And considering that the first Trolls is average and weak, not terrible, but definitely weaker than Mr. Peabody and Sherman and Home, maybe this sequel can fix some of the problems from the first movie and focus on world building of each place in the sequel and have some nice visuals. But character and story-wise, definitely not. Wonder what song in this movie will become the next Can't Stop the Feeling. Oh, that's going to be a good question. I definitely do hope, though, that the next Can't Stop the Feeling won't be this freaking stupid Tiny Diamond freaking song. Oh, God. Like, that was bad. Like, I'm sorry, but honestly, like, that, like, this Tiny Diamond edition, like, I know I keep harping on it so much, no pun intended, but that was awful. The song was terrible. It just came out of nowhere. That was, like, that broke me. That was like, okay, no thanks. I don't think I'm interested in the movie anymore. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna keep myself cautiously optimistic about this. It doesn't look like it'll reach the levels of the first, but the animation looks as good as before. I love the irony of Kelly Clarkson's casting in a Troll sequel after starring in a Trolls spin-off, and in a Trolls ripoff, and I already love the world building. I'll likely go see it just for the visuals and Timberlake's performance, since that was the best part of the first movie. However, going into the Infinity War comparisons, I'm guessing this is gonna end with, are you guessing like maybe the rock troll, she's gonna strum up all the strings and then suddenly like half the trolls are gonna be gone? And then suddenly we'll just have a scene where either Guy Diamond or the James Corden troll is just gonna be weak and they're gonna be like, Poppy, I don't feel so good. Or maybe it would make sense for Guy Diamond where he just like turns into Sparkles. Except instead of the emotional moment where everybody's sad for Spider-Man, nobody's really gonna care for Guy Diamond. I mean, does anybody actually do care about Guy Diamond? Like, anybody? Let's be honest. Does anybody really care about any of the other trolls other than Poppy and Branch? Okay. Let's see now. I'm personally offended by the fact that this movie basically makes it feel like rock is an evil type of music, when there are plenty of nice people I know who love rock. Also, how funny is it that this is the third time Jeffrey Tambor has been replaced in an animated project? Oh, that is true, because, like, he was Poppy's dad, right? Oh my god. Wow, honestly, I never thought of that, but it is true that the dude has really been screwed over by his #MeToo moment, and yeah, what he has done is bad, and it is well-deserved, but wow, I never realized that Jeffrey Tambor ended up losing so much more than just, what was his show on Amazon? Transparent? Yeah, that was pretty bad. But Yeah, and you know, that's actually the funny thing. I have noticed that there are some people who love rock music that got actually pretty offended by this. And I would actually say that I do like rock music myself. And it is kind of weird, I'll admit, that, yeah, they have to portray they got to portray the rock people as the bad guys. Like when you go here, like they really want to make them villainous, especially with the way that they're mainly gray and black and red all over, pretty much trying to go into the goth motif. And from there, I guess what they want to try to emphasize, I guess, is kind of like the Satan area of heavy metal, where, you know, like they want to emphasize songs like 666, the number of the beast, hell brings fire, you know, like that kind of rock music, and that's what they want to try to emphasize. I guess it's a little bit too easy to make rock the evil type of music, considering its strong association with hell and Satan and all that kind of stuff. And I do agree, it is kind of a cheap shot for trolls to actually go and try to make rock the bad guys in this case. I mean, personally, if it were my choice, I would make country the villains. But yeah, I do get what you mean there. Okay, let's see what other comments that we got here, because, oh god, a lot of people seem to be commenting on this. The metal rock trolls look awesome. Probably the best part of the movie. It's too to see that they will balance the fluffy, sunshine, happy trolls. I wonder if the movie will feature... Oh, excuse me. I wonder if they will feature songs from Metallica or AC/DC. Well, I mean, they already did Black Sabbath, so probably. Probably would dislike, since they seem annoying, and I find country music boring. Also, if this is like Infinity War... I want Poppy to say, Branch, I don't feel so good. Oh my god, we're already placing our bets on who's going to die. Alright, you know things aren't really looking good for this trailer when we're already placing our bets. Like, alright guys, let's see, who's gonna die, and who, more importantly, who's gonna care? Alright, I'm gonna go and read one more, and then we're gonna move on to our next one. I think I'm gonna fish out... let's see, over here. Personally, aside from the great animation, I wish they just took the music from, different worlds coming together. Could have been its own story rather than in a Trolls movie. And if it's borrowing Infinity War, let's hope the main villain doesn't snap her fingers. Yeah, wow, honestly, it is kind of surprising to see that a lot of people has indeed got some mixed reactions over this. So how is the movie gonna go? Honestly, we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, we still got a lot of time, and it is pretty surprising that DreamWorks actually did show so much, considering that this is going to be a movie released April of next year. But, yeah, are we going to be wrong regarding the story? Will it be better than we expected, or will it turn out to be worse than we expected? I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see. And also, I could say right now, regardless of how the movie is, screw Tiny Diamond. Okay, so now that we got that done, it is now time that we shall jump onto our next trailer. And for this trailer, I think it's actually going to be a great one to go and wash off the bad taste of Tiny Diamond's random crappy musical number. This is actually a trailer for an upcoming animated series that Cartoon Network has that has been highly anticipated for a while. There was an animated short that a lot of people absolutely adored it, and now Cartoon Network decided they're going to go and pick it up and decide to make something a little bit bigger out of it. So with that said, let's go ahead and jump onto Cartoon Network's upcoming series, Infinity Train. Yes, folks, that was Cartoon Network's Infinity Train, and I will be very honest, I have yet to actually see the original animated short that it's based on, but apparently, like, we can actually watch it online. But to go a little bit deeper into what this is all about, let me go and read a little synopsis, which is on Cartoon Network's YouTube channel over here, which is stated here: Trapped on a mysterious train full of puzzles and peril, a headstrong 12-year-old girl must use her wits to uncover the train's many secrets and hopefully return home. Tulip's mind-bending journey will find her forging friendships with 1-1, a robot with dueling personalities, and Atticus, the canine king of Corginia. But with new surprises awaits them in every car, will Tulip ever find a way off the train? And honestly, looking at this right now, considering that this is a bit of my first impression of what this is all about, honestly, I gotta say, I could definitely see why a lot of people are really hyped up on this. And maybe it's just me. Maybe this might not be the case, but I feel like what we got here is actually a pretty fascinating video game based themed, or more just a video game themed animated series. I know it sounds weird because technically it's not necessarily based on a specific video game or stuff like that, but hear me out on it. I know that technically some people might say, like, it would be a little too easy to just point out that, oh, this is a lot like Gravity Falls, because technically you got this kid character entering in this strange land where, like every time she would progress and every time she would explore new areas, there's this paranormal element that she would go and encounter, rather it be something from fantasy, from horror, from sci-fi, or anything like that. It really is a show where anything goes, and this little girl has to explore the secrets of what this area has in store for her. But that's not necessarily the case. Why I actually feel like it's a bit more like a video game, it's mainly because the way that they've established at the beginning, because Tulip stated that she's going to be leaving her little town in Wisconsin to go to Oshkosh in order to go in this special camp that specializes in video game programming or video game coding or something like that. What is it that she said?
When I'm at game design camp, die of boredom, bro.
Yeah, like she's going into game design camp. So she wants to go into a video, to go and emphasize that she's mostly about video games and she's mostly about programming video games. That's the kind of character that they want to establish. In a way, like, Tulip is a gamer girl. That's what they want to try to set up. And then when you go into the Infinity Train, the first cart that we see that she enters is pretty much this literally world-building area where it's entirely made out of grids, and she's pretty much setting up this entire place where she could pretty much build her own blocks. It's kind of like a Minecraft area where she's pretty much making her own stuff. Like she's right now building her own interpretation of the Eiffel Tower, and then you see all these different blocks that are around her. So I do believe that from there, it is based on video games where every cart, in a way, would be like entering a different level where you have to go and face different enemies. You go into different genres. You go in and explore different areas. And especially one big component about the series that they're trying to sell is that what Tulip has to do in order to solve these mysteries is heavily based on puzzle solving. So in a way, it's a little bit similar to how they would make games like Professor Layton or maybe like L.A. Noire, where a lot of it has to do with figuring out the different clues that are around you and try to solve the mystery that is around your area, or more specifically, to solve the puzzle. And honestly, on that aspect, I really do find that it's a cool concept that they could play around, and from here, you could see that they do sell it well, that it is a little bit of a combination, not just like this video game themed game, but also an animated or video game based themed show. But also, this is an animated series where, as I stated before, it is a little bit like Anything Goes, where she would team up with this little robot character. Yeah, like this little brown, like this little white ball called 1-1, which in a way can be a bit of a reference to Portal, because that looks like the type of character that this guy is. Not necessarily like GLaDOS, in a sense, not the main villain, but more like the helper, kind of like in Portal 2, in a way. And then also, of course, you got another character that's going to be joining on Tulip's journey, where you got basically the king of corgis. I don't know why I had a problem trying to say that word, but yeah, like you got Atticus, which I don't know if it's just me, but I do feel like the voice actor that they got here, maybe they already announced it, but like you could tell that the voice actor is really trying to channel James Earl Jones. Like if you just hear a little bit of what he says, like, you can hear that tone that's a little bit similar to how James Earl Jones acted as Mufasa in The Lion King.
Let us be on our way. Across the great river and through the twisting woods of mystery, you shall find the unsolvable puzzle door.
So, and that's the thing, don't you hear a little bit like, yeah, this is totally trying to be like James Earl Jones. It's almost like Mufasa is talking to Simba. And then from there, also another element where I do feel like there is that video game based element, is where you get a hint of who could possibly be the villain, where you kind of have this, like more realistic human face attached to all these different wires. Like that does seem like it's going to be like maybe the antagonist, because so far this character's interaction with Tulip doesn't seem all that nice, and then you see the area all around this character that's like filled with holes and unplugged wires and stuff like that. So a lot of it is very technological based, and overall I do feel like I can see where this series can have a lot of potential, and I do see where the hype is from. This heavily video game based this video game themed TV show where anything can pretty much happen, and with the idea of the Infinity Train, it does sound very fascinating. Like you like, it is true, like even though I said that, yeah, it's too easy to make a comparison, but there is a little bit of that hint of Gravity Falls, that element of mystery, and you never know what's going to be coming up next. That actually does feel like it will bring out a lot of the fun, maybe a little bit of the humor, but this really does emphasize a lot more on the mystery and on the adventure. Now, I don't know if Cartoon Network has specifically released a release date, if they've revealed when this is going to be coming out, but I definitely do see the potential with what Cartoon Network has with Infinity Train, and it might turn out to be the next big Cartoon Network show. Who knows? But so far, I will say with this trailer, they really did nail it with this one. Alright, so with that said, I want to know from you guys regarding your thoughts on how is Infinity Train. Do you guys think this is a show you might be watching? Do you guys have any problems with this series? Are you impressed by the trailer? Does it not sell you? Let me know what you think right now. Alright, let me see. What do people have to say? Let's see now. Let's see. Finally, Infinity Train is made into a show. I was sick of the cartoon community for always whining about Teen Titans Go playing all the time, and whining about how Infinity Train isn't turned into a show. I'm finally relieved that this is a show, so that the whiners would finally shut up. Now, anyways, on to the trailer itself. It looks awesome, as the show gives me a Gravity Falls vibe, and also reminds me a little bit of Netflix's Hilda. Yeah, and that's another good comparison as well, not just with Gravity Falls, but Hilda, which I've heard seems to be a very fantastic show with a prominent fan base, and especially, last I've heard, it did win a few not Emmys, but it did win some Annies, so that might be a show worth checking out. Like, if you are a fan of Hilda, then maybe you could get into something like Infinity Train as well. Let's see. This show gave me a bit of a Steven Universe and Adventure Time vibe. It looks like it will focus on the character development and the world it's set in. But just one question. Where is the girl's parents? Or maybe she looks like she's in high school or college. Maybe I missed it, but this is something that will keep me that will keep me hooked and on the edge of this, on the edge of my seat of every cliffhanger. Maybe, just maybe, Cartoon Network, just maybe. No, but they did emphasize. Yeah, it is true that in a way they did make Tulip look a little bit older, but it is stated here that she's supposed to be 12 years old. So, to all the dudes on the internet, don't freaking get any ideas, okay? That'll just be creepy. But going back into this, yeah, she is supposed to be 12. Well, the trailer itself didn't necessarily emphasize, where are her parents? Maybe she is just an orphan or something like that. Who knows? Or maybe they just trust her that she would go and travel to Oshkosh, by herself. So that's kind of the mystery element. I guess that would be the best way to put it, is that it will add onto the mystery of what is going on with this series. So who knows? All right, let's see what else we got. Finally, this is the first time I could actually watch a good Cartoon Network show in a while since Regular Show, where I gave up after that. I'm definitely going to watch this since this has one of Regular Show writers creating this, and Ernie Hudson from Ghostbusters is there voicing Atticus. Oh, it's Ernie Hudson! Oh, that's who it is! Okay, and I really think it's going to be a great show, I hope. Okay, that actually does make sense that it is Ernie Hudson. Okay. I was just wondering. It's like, okay, there was something about him that just feels like, okay, he really does sound like James Earl Jones. Okay, but it is true that Ernie Hudson does have a similar voice style to James Earl Jones. So, okay, that does make sense. All right, a pretty interesting choice, but still a very good one. I will admit, I was actually impressed with his performance here as Atticus. Okay, wow. That's the big mind-blowing thing about it. It's not necessarily the trailer itself, but the fact that Cartoon Network got Ernie Hudson to voice a corgi. Okay. Let's see. Am I the only one who's not as interested in seeing this? One, the art style is a bit too similar to some of the past Cartoon Network shows, especially We Bare Bears. I'm also not the biggest fan of subway trains. I prefer steam locomotives like Thomas. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. I didn't know. Well, I mean, do you use that as a mode of transportation? Do you use steam locomotives nowadays to go from one place or another instead of, like, subway-style trains? I'm just asking. And I mean, technically, this is more of a modern train. It's not necessarily like a whole subway that's underground. The main thing is that it's a modern train. And I don't know if having a steam train would sell as well in a modern setting like they're trying to do here for Infinity Train. Okay, I'm going to go and read one more comment that we have here. What I think this could something like... Oh, what I think is that this could be something like the next Adventure Time or another plot-following series that can really be entertaining to watch. I hardly think this will have much comedy in this since it looks more serious than most other Cartoon Network shows, but still... Ooh, excuse me. But still, this does have an interesting concept. Let's see what it is, and it might turn out to be a great show or something awesome. Yeah, okay. One thing I will say is that I'm definitely confident that this will have some comedy into it. I'm sure that they'll try to inject some humor. In fact, like, we've already seen some comedy that's already being taken place, especially like when there's this one little scene here where she opens the door and then suddenly she's randomly in a room full of ducks. And there was at one point where they tried to inject some humor as well, like this little part here.
But others went dancing.
Dancing is scary.
Awfully morbid little thing, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you got that part. So, of course, there will be a bit of comedy. It will take its time to be a bit lighthearted, to throw in a bit of gags here and there, but maybe it will take itself a little bit more seriously than most other shows, but that is something we will have to wait and see. Maybe not something that will emphasize as much comedy as something like Gravity Falls, but I'm sure a little humor will be sprinkled here and there. Alright, let me just take a little bit of a drink. Okay, so with that said, let us now go and jump onto our next story, and let's talk about something that this week has been very popular, and it is a very talked about subject: Pixar, especially with the fact that Toy Story 4 has just been released and already is making a big splash at the box office. A lot of people are talking about it, and I'm sure a lot of people are wondering about my thoughts, and I'm just going to say right now that I will be saving most of my thoughts for when the review will be coming out, but I can say right now that I did cry at the end of Toy Story 4, and I'll just lay it on that. I'll just leave it there. However, we're not going to be talking about Toy Story 4. What we will discuss about instead is going to be what's going to be happening next year. And what seems to be happening will be another Pixar movie. Yes, in 2020, we're not just going to be getting Onward, but we're also going to have another animated film by the name of Soul. Yes, so far, Soul seems to be the name of one of Pixar's upcoming animated features, in which they have reserved the release date to come out on June 19th, 2020. Now, we don't necessarily have a lot of info coming out of this. We only know about who's going to be directing it, when's the release date, and a little bit of the synopsis, and that's pretty much it. It has stated here, reading from my source on Deadline, that the tagline of Soul is, "Ever wonder where your passion, your dreams, and your interest comes from? What is it that makes you, you?" Directed by two-time Oscar winner and also the chief creative officer of Pixar, Pete Docter, the film takes place between New York City and the cosmic realms. Dana Murray, an Oscar nominee for her animated short Lou, is producing. So that is pretty much all that we know so far. And it also stated that Soul will be opening up against Universal's Untitled Judd Apatow and Pete Davidson's comedy next year. So that's so far the only piece of information that we have got for Soul. And even though that we know very little of it, the only thing that I can ask regarding this movie is just, well, why the frick did you not tell me about this sooner? I mean, right now, you're telling me that next year we are going to have a Pete Docter directed Pixar movie, an original Pete Docter movie coming out next year. Like, next year, and you didn't tell me about this. Honestly, I just find that to be absolutely nuts that somehow we have been waiting years and knowing piece by piece about little informations regarding stuff like Onward, where we have to wait a little bit more about, okay, here's the cast, here's what's going to be about, here's a teaser trailer. Like, we took the time to know about that for years, ever since the 2017, I believe it's the 2017, that or the 2015 D23 Expo, but I'm going to place safe bets on the 2017 D23 Expo, that we've known about that for so long, and yet, now you just decide, oh yeah, by the way, on a side note, yeah, we got a Pete Docter directed movie. Are you freaking kidding me? Like, I'll just say right now that I absolutely love Pete Docter's works. Like, this is definitely a guy whom, if you look at the previous movies that he has done, not just his contributions that he has made throughout the years at Pixar, but his movies feel like they get better and better and better. Like, he starts out with Monsters, Inc., and then he proceeds with making Up, and then he goes and create Inside Out, which right now I gotta say, it's not only one of Pixar's best animated films, but it's one of the best animated films of the decade. And hearing that he is coming back to direct another animated film, even when he is now the brand new chief creative officer of Pixar, honestly, I am totally excited. And even at that, I do feel like the concept actually does sound very interesting and almost Inside Out like. I do get a lot of people commenting that maybe this sounds like some kind of spiritual successor to Inside Out, since it does sound like there is a little bit of a similar plot to it, but it really is trying to be its own thing and really sell on the fact that it's trying to be something that's highly original, where they pretty much want to go and create a realm that's between our world and the realm where apparently your dreams, your passions, and your uniqueness, that's where they all come from. Yeah, like basically stating that it's going to be an area where it will be between New York City and the cosmic realms. Now, that is something I really like to know more about. And honestly, even with the little piece of information that we got with Soul, I feel like I am much more anticipated and much more interested in this one than I am with Onward. Now, don't get me wrong. Onward could actually turn out to be an amazing movie, almost as much as like plenty of the other Pixar films. There is that chance it could turn out to be absolutely amazing and one of the best animated films of 2020. But I feel like right now, it still has a lot more work to do in terms of selling me the idea, because with the things that we have seen so far with Onward, with the teaser trailer, with the plot synopsis, with the whole concept and the world building of Onward, I feel like there's just something about it that I feel like it's not necessarily enough to sell me on the idea of Onward. I don't feel like it's really that 100% original. Like, this is an idea like, oh, it's a fantasy world with unicorns and trolls and elves, but in a modern setting. Like, that's already been done so many times before, where honestly, I feel like it needs to do a bit more. Like, show me a bit more, like maybe more character development, or really explore around the story. Like, maybe release a trailer where you can emphasize more the idea of Onward, so that you can sell me or tell me more about what this movie is about. I feel like it still has a bit more work. But here, however, like with the little piece of information, with the concept of what this movie is about, with Pete Docter directing the feature, and the fact that it's going to be coming out in 2020, I'm already excited for that. I'm already putting Soul among my most anticipated films of 2020. It didn't necessarily do all that much, but I feel like it is telling me enough that this original film that is exploring a very unique idea, directed by Pete Docter, that is something where, okay, now you sold me on the idea. Now I am honestly highly interested on it. Now, of course, we're not going to know a whole lot about it. Even though with this little piece of information, I feel like at the most we're only going to know a bit more about what this is going to be, like the cast reveal, a little bit more about the plot, and who knows, maybe even a clip or a trailer. Like, we're only going to know that until this year's D23 Expo, which is going to be coming out in 2019, I believe. So we do have to wait a little bit until that time. So for now, I will say that so far what we got with Soul, yeah, I'm definitely going to be putting this one as a highly anticipated film. I love Pete Docter's directorial works. I love what Pixar is so far doing with their original features, and with this concept, it does sound like something that can be very fascinating, and it would require a very special team in order to deliver that in an amazing way. So honestly, I do have pretty high hopes. Again, it is going to be coming out exactly next year on June 19th, 2020, so we'll see how it goes with Soul. So with that said, now I would like to jump onto the chat wall, and I want to know, what do you guys think about this movie? What do you guys think about the announcement of Soul? Is it a movie that you guys would be interested in checking out? Are you already anticipated for it? Are you guys a little bit iffy? And also, I want to know, which one would you prefer? Which one are you more interested to check out right now? Are you more interested in seeing Onward, or would you rather check out Soul? Let me know what you think right now, folks. Okay, so let's see what people have to say. Let's see now. I'm really excited for this movie, and I love all of Pete Docter's other movies, and I'm certain that it's going to be great. By the synopsis, just reminds me a lot of Marvel's Doctor Strange, especially with the fantasy realm in New York. I guess Pixar is now obsessed with fantasy with both this and Onward. Well, I mean, I guess you could say this is also a bit of a fantasy film as well, but it's interesting to discuss about the fantasy element per se, because in a way, when you do read the synopsis of Soul, like, technically it is a bit of fantasy, but it's not necessarily the same kind of fantasy as Onward, because Onward is a lot more of the classic definition of fantasy, like literally, as I stated before, with trolls, elves, unicorns, mermaids, and little gnomes scattered around, set in a modern setting. Whereas Soul, on the other hand, Soul looks like it's gonna go into a cosmic area. I guess you could say more in a spiritual form of fantasy. You know, it's a little bit like how Inside Out is a fantasy film in a way. It's not necessarily the same kind of fantasy as Onward, but it's a completely different kind of fantasy. I think that's the best way to put that. Okay, let's see. I'm excited for the new Pete Docter movie Soul, especially with Pete Docter as a director since Inside Out. Congratulations for you, Pete, coming back. The plot, while small, I am interested to see what will happen. Also seemed to be 2020 to be Pixar's year to have 2 movies, with the other being Onward. Either way, I just can't wait. I mean, technically, it's not necessarily the first time that we have seen them do 2 movies in 1 year. It of course, it has happened before, and we have seen it with 2015 with Inside Out and The Good Dinosaur, and then also with 2017 as well with Coco and Cars 3. But then again, what does usually happen is that from there you got one movie that's like extremely good, that is absolutely phenomenal, and then you got another one that is just average as at best. Where on one hand, you got Inside Out and Coco, and then on the other hand, you got The Good Dinosaur and Cars 3. I do feel like maybe we're going to see something a little bit similar, where there is a possibility maybe Soul is going to be the amazing movie, and then you got Onward that's just going to be the average film. I don't know. I could be wrong on that, of course, and it could be the other way around. We just have to wait and see, but I feel like there is a chance that there might be one that might end up becoming a little bit superior than the other. Alright, let's see now. What do we got here? Soul is what I've been waiting for. This and Onward look fantastic. I can't wait to see where Pixar thinks our interests come from. This is old school Pixar. By the way, how was Toy Story 4? I haven't seen it yet. You know, just go see it for yourself. You know, you don't have to ask people, oh, how is it? Just go see it and you will know. Okay, let's see. Soul is reminding me a lot of Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go, as both have concepts of you traveling to different places and different parts of the world. Really impressed that Pixar would tell a second-person POV film. Wonder what's taking Walt Disney Animation Studios so long to announce their film in 2020. Also, what do you call a Pixar film about an animation reviewer? An Eye of Soul, Waka Waka. Well, she kind of retired from that, so that joke is already old and expired. Yeah, well, I mean, I guess for Disney Animation, again, we just have to wait until D23 Expo, or maybe a little bit beforehand. I don't know. We'll see, but we know that Pixar did make their announcement right now. All right, let's see now. This concept sounds a little similar to Inside Out, but I am excited to see what it'll look like and see how it'll bring out. This could be my anticipated animated film of 2020 since I already have Vivo on there, but this one might blow me away out of the water for me. I hope it's great. I definitely hope it's great too, and I will admit, even with me as well, I am excited for Vivo, and I am interested to see how Sony is going to develop Lin-Manuel Miranda's music. Alright, I'm just gonna go and read one more comment. I'm excited for this and I hope this is good. It reminds me of the plot of Avengers Infinity War. This sounds more exciting than Onward, and in minority, Inside Out was my least favorite Pixar Pete Docter movie, so I hope it's better. I'm surprised Pete came back even after he is a chief creative officer. Well, I mean, you gotta keep in mind that animated films do take a long time, so I'm pretty sure that Pete Docter was working on this even way before he officially became a chief creative officer. Keep in mind, Pete Docter was officially the chief creative officer just last year. So it's not like he got the position and then suddenly, oh, I'm gonna go and make an animated film. I'm gonna make Soul. It's gonna be coming out in 2020. So you got to keep in mind, there's been a long time, you know, it took some time to go and develop this movie. And I'm sure, like, this was even conceived and thought up. Like, I'm sure even this was during a time when John Lasseter had a bit of his hands on this. All right, so let me go and take my water. Okay, that's better. So now let us go and jump onto our next story, in which we got a little bit of a bonus miscellaneous. And this is honestly something that I really would like to talk about, because this is a news story that the theme park community is just going absolutely nuts over. That apparently they are sounding the alarms and everybody is freaking out about this. But you gotta keep in mind that this is only a rumor, and I'm gonna be repeating this throughout the whole thing, but the thing is, what I'm about to talk about is just a rumor. There is a possibility that it might not happen, and it's nothing more but a false alarm. So with that said, let me go and talk about Country Bear Jamboree, because apparently, according to the rumor, it might shut down. Yes, I know it seems kind of crazy, but according to the rumor by WDW News Today, for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World in 2021, Disney is planning to go and shut down Country Bear Jamboree, which stayed at Walt Disney World ever since the very beginning of the resort. Like, this was actually one of the opening attractions, one of the opening day attractions. And of course, if you do know a little bit of your Disney history, this is something that is actually very significant when it comes to Disney theme park history. Almost as much as Pirates of the Caribbean and the Haunted Mansion, especially when you do have Mark Davis heavily involved, and even Walt Disney also came in and helped out a little bit. In fact, there was actually a very famous story regarding Walt Disney with one of his last days at the studio, where one day Walt Disney wanted to go and check up on how Mark Davis was doing, and from there, Mark Davis decided to show him all the concept art he has created for Country Bear Jamboree. And Walt was having a good time. He was having a great laugh and just, you know, he was going hysterical over the funny drawings that Mark Davis has done with all these different bears. And then right at the end of that little meeting, Walt Disney looked at Mark and said, "Well, goodbye, Mark." Which is honestly very unusual and very shocking for Mark, mainly because Walt Disney was not the kind of person that would say goodbye. He was more like, all right, see you later. You know, he's one of those guys that doesn't want to say that it's the end. So it's kind of shocking that Walt said goodbye. A few days later, Walt Disney passed away. It's a very heartbreaking and touching story. Very bittersweet in a way, but of course, that's why there is a lot of historical significance when it comes to Country Bear Jamboree. So with that said, though, considering this rumor stating that Country Bears is going to be shutting down, the question is, what's going to be taking its place? Well, let me go into my source at WDW News Today, as it states that apparently, strangely enough, the replacement is a Toy Story audio animatronic marionette show. This would incorporate elements of the Woody's Roundup television show featured heavily in Toy Story 2, a faux program that starred puppet versions of Woody, Jessie, Bullseye, and Stinky Pete, the Prospector. So the main thing about this rumor is that in honor of the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World, they're going to go and shut down Country Bear Jamboree in order to go and replace it with a Toy Story marionette show, make it heavily themed to Woody's Roundup, which is the franchise that Woody originally came from. Like, it's because of the Woody's Roundup franchise that he became the doll that we all know and love in the first place. And before I get into my thoughts about this rumor in particular, I just want to say that I love Country Bear Jamboree. I am not a country music fan at all, but Country Bears, they get a pass, honestly. Like, I've loved them. I adored their show ever since I was a little kid. And every time I would go to Walt Disney World, I always want to make sure I want to take the time to go and check out the Country Bears. It's just a lot of fun, and it brings back a lot of great nostalgic memories. And before anyone does, please don't ask me about my thoughts on the movie. I haven't seen it yet, and I don't know if I want to watch it. Oh, I just realized it does make a pretty good idea for an AniMat's watches, actually. Who knows? All right, but anyways, going back to what I was talking about, yeah, I adore Country Bear Jamboree. It's a great attraction. I know that it is very stupid, and it is corny, and all it is just a dumb animatronic show that often has been parodied, and it often has been made fun of, and of course, nowadays, you're gonna get a whole bunch of kids making comparisons, like, Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, like, you get all that kind of crap, but honestly, Country Bear Jamboree is one of the few Disney attractions that really does have a very special place in my heart. Now, going back into this rumor of Country Bear Jamboree being replaced by a Toy Story marionette show, I will say there is one thing that I have my massive doubts, and one thing that is just something that doesn't bode well on me. Now, I'm not necessarily upset of the fact that they want to shut down Country Bear Jamboree. That's not the part that's problematic for me. It's the fact that they're shutting down Country Bear Jamboree for a Toy Story marionette show? Like, is this actually something that people really want? Because for me, if you're gonna ask me to go and shut down Country Bear Jamboree, considering the historical significance of the attraction and the fact that it has been there since the very beginnings of Walt Disney World and its direct connection with Walt Disney, then you better go and replace it with something that is absolutely phenomenal. Something that can gather up giant lines as much as Big Thunder Mountain and Splash Mountain. You better replace it with something that will blow people away. And I do not think that you can really do that with a Toy Story marionette show. Because honestly, when I do think that way, when I do think of like this Toy Story show, I feel like it's basically going to be the same thing with what we have already gotten with Country Bear Jamboree, except we're going to get creepy dolls of like Toy Story characters, and they're just going to be singing songs like You Got a Friend in Me. It just makes no sense. And plus the fact that really the thing that you're going to replace it is another Toy Story ride. Don't you think we already have enough of a Toy Story presence all around Walt Disney World already? Like, in the Magic Kingdom alone, we already have Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger Spin, which, okay, on that end of the argument, I guess I do understand that it would make sense that you got a Buzz Lightyear ride on Tomorrowland, and then you got a Woody ride in Frontierland. Okay, that part would make sense. But then you go to Disney's Hollywood Studios and there's an entire land dedicated to Toy Story. Not just one ride, an entire freaking area all themed to Toy Story where you can go on several Toy Story rides, including Toy Story Midway Mania. You got the Slinky Dog ride, you got the Aliens ride, you got the Green Army Men ride, you got the RC ride, you got all those different rides that you can go and have your Toy Story fill. And even on top of that, I would like to ask, like, if you really want to go and make a Toy Story marionette show, why go through all the trouble and replace Country Bear Jamboree when you could just take it and you could put it as a new little section in Toy Story Land? That's the part that just doesn't make sense for me. And that's why I honestly have so much doubts over this rumor. I feel like there's just something about it doesn't necessarily make sense because I feel like it would be such a dumb move for Disney. I feel like it would be absolutely ridiculous for them to basically replace Country Bear Jamboree, except it's going to be the exact same show wearing a Toy Story mask, and now they're just going to be singing You Got a Friend in Me at one point. It doesn't, I don't really get it. Like, what's the point of it? Why take off a lot of historical significance just to cram in another Toy Story attraction? I feel like at that point, you're just going to be pissing a lot of people off more so than making them happy. More so than like, oh, cool, a new ride, a new experience. Let's go and check it out. That just doesn't make sense. And even if they're going to do that, like, what else are they going to do? Like, what's going to be the next step? Are you going to go and replace Carousel of Progress? Are you going to replace the Enchanted Tiki Room? I mean, if you're going to stop, like, why stop at Country Bear Jamboree when you could just slap in the face of, like, any random Pixar movie onto those things? Honestly, I just feel like this would be just such a dumb, bad move. And especially really bad timing if you are doing this for the 50th anniversary of the Magic Kingdom, and also what would be the 50th anniversary of Country Bear Jamboree. At that point, it would just not make any sense whatsoever. It's like, oh, well, here's this extreme milestone. Like this is a great monumental milestone for the attraction. Here's your prize. We're gonna kick you all out so that we can replace you with more Toy Story all around Walt Disney World. Like, really? Does that make sense to you? I don't see the point of this. I really don't. And that's why I have my massive doubts that this is not real. And I mean, it could possibly happen, but I do feel like, honestly, there is a part of me that says, like, this cannot happen. This is such a bad move of Disney where they're going to end up upsetting a lot more people than making them happy. And plus the fact also, considering that it is from WDW News Today, I mean, they do have a bit of a reputation of announcing some rumors and then it turns out, oh, it actually turned out to be false. That's actually what happened before when they actually spreaded a rumor that sometime in mid-2020 that at Epcot, both the land and Seas with Nemo and Friends would be shut down. But that eventually turned out to be false. Like, those rumors are not true, and even during that time, they would actually turn out to be real. This, however, I don't know. I feel like I have doubts. Maybe they could be right on this, but honestly, I'm pressing X to doubt on this. I don't know. I feel like there's no way it can be true because that would be just a very upsetting move for Disney. I just feel like there's just, like, they gotta prepare their PRs if they want to go and replace something like Country Bear Jamboree with a creepy Toy Story ventriloquist dummy show. I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of doubts on this. I don't know. I just want to take the time to go and express my thoughts here, and I don't know if what I'm saying makes sense, but it's just, well, I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen, and I'm sure many of these rumors are going to be clarified at the D23 Expo, which is going to be coming out in a few months, but for now, I'm just going to say, yeah, I doubt this rumor is real. Okay, so with that said, I want to know from you guys and go into the chat wall and want to know, what do you guys think about this rumor about Country Bear Jamboree possibly shutting down for a Toy Story marionette show? Are you guys in favor of this change? Are you guys against this change? Let me know what you guys think. Okay. Let's see what we got here. Personally, I would love to see a Woody's Roundup show, but it would be a big mistake to replace any of their famous historical attractions with it, just like with their false rumor of about the Tangled ride replacing It's a Small World back then. Oh wow, I never heard about that rumor, but yeah, that could be another possibility. Yeah, that's another ride where they cannot frickin' touch it. Yeah, you can't just take down It's a Small World. I know a lot of people can make creepy jokes about it, but yeah, that's another historical ride that is a no-no to go and replace, man. Let's see. The funny thing is that Country Bear Jamboree attraction did temporarily close for a 2-month refurbishment. The characters have new skin, fur, and costumes. Some of the songs and dialogue were removed and shortened, making it a third shorter than before. With this, though, I hope it is fake, and I would rather have a Woody's Roundup spin-off TV show instead of the attraction. Yes, and that is actually true. You do bring up a good point, and I do believe it was sometime in 2012 that they actually made those updates to give them new costumes and new fur and shortening the show a little bit. And that one also sparked a tiny bit of controversy as well, where some people did get a little bit upset of the fact that the Country Bear show is a lot shorter than what it used to be. So there is a bit of that, and yeah, they did tinker it a little bit, but I don't know. Let's see. One ride I wish they didn't shut down that I wanted to visit was the 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea submarine ride, which closed down 20 years before I went to the Magic Kingdom. And I know they could never bring America Sings to the Magic Kingdom since the Disneyland ride had a cast member accidentally killed on the ride less than a month after the opening. Oh yeah, I mean, it would have been, like, it would be really cool that they would bring back America Sings, but considering the reputation that it has attached to that unfortunate cast member, that and also considering how many of the animatronics have migrated to Splash Mountain, I don't think I could see it come back anytime soon, unless they make like some kind of massive update to the attraction itself. Let's see now. I don't think these rumors are true. WDW News Today does tend to report rumors that doesn't end up happening. They did the same thing with rumors of the Brazil and Spain pavilion being added to Epcot back announced in D23 2017, and it didn't happen. I'm not really a fan of Country Bears, but I think they'll keep it. Keep it for the same reasons they keep Carousel of Progress. Maybe they would be doing a more modern day reimagining of the show, which could be cool, like they did with Soarin'. Yeah, that actually would. I mean, like, if there is one thing they could do is that they should really update Country Bear Jamboree. Like, honestly, if there's a reason why they need to close it down, is put in another refurbishment. Like, really update the bear so that the animatronics can be a lot more sophisticated, and that maybe you can add in a bit of a variety where each time you come in, it would be a bit of a different experience. You know, a little bit like what they did with Star Tours, except, like, when you would go in, they would suddenly sing a bit of different songs along with some of the classics. Okay. Let's go and move on. I'll go and read one more story that they got here. Let's see. It really does goes to show that Disney doesn't care about the anniversary of the Country Bears with Toy Story Marionette Show. That's just how greedy Disney has become. Keep in mind, as I've said many times before, this is just a rumor. This might not be true. That's what we are discussing about, is the fact that maybe what this is, it ain't gotta happen. So I just want to keep in mind on that. Alright. Okay, so I think we are pretty much all good with this rumor right over here. And it is now time that we shall go and jump onto the grand finale. And oh my god, guys, this is actually pretty exciting because these are words that I'm going to say that I never thought that I would really ever say for this podcast. But yes, folks, what we have here is an AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast exclusive. Yes, folks, stick around now. You don't have to leave, because what we have right now is something that will be a world premiere. And this is going to be related to an independent animated feature. Now, chances are maybe you're not going to go and see it on the big screen for yourselves. Hopefully you do, but this is actually something that the filmmaker himself have asked me if I could show this to you all, kind of like a little bit of a sneak peek, because the trailer of it is going to be coming out next week. However, since you are here right now, you will be the first to go and check it out before it comes out publicly next week. Yes, folks, you are going to be in a real treat for this one. So, again, this is an independent animated feature, and what I'm about to show you for the first time will be the minute-long trailer for the movie called The Heart of Them. So let's go and check this one out.
Oyama, I can't do this without her. She needed us to stay strong. And we must.
They can be cruel and heartless, but we are not like them, and you should not follow their path of violence. We know you are better than them.
They have taken everything away from me and left me nothing. Well, no more. These monsters thought that they could do whatever they wanted to me. And now it is my turn to play the monster.
Yes, folks. What you have witnessed over here is the minute-long trailer to a movie called The Heart of Them, which was created by Mohammed Fikri, in which he is the producer, director, the writer. He's the one who made the story, the music composer, and also the sole animator. And maybe he had some help in order to make this, but yeah, what you see here in terms of the animation, this is all his name right here. Now, there is one thing that's for sure, that he got other people to help out, and that is actually regarding the cast. In which, apparently he also got some script editors, which includes Ahmad Al-Kemzi and Amira Al-Midfa. I apologize if I really screwed up these names. But we also got a cast. One of the main stars that you will find, we got D.C. Douglas, who is a prominent voice actor, and that's the guy you heard that's like all pissed off. It's like, now it's my turn to be the monster. We also got Guy Sehi, Adam Harrington, Mira Al-Mitfa, we got Aisha Mohammed, Bara Abdullah, Amal Al-Agrubi, and of course, well, the reason why you're kind of getting this exclusive, there's me. But I just want to keep in mind, just really want to take a note. Yes, I am actually one of the voices in this animated feature. However, I don't necessarily have that big of a role. I'm almost like a cameo. I think, honestly, Mohammed is actually pretty generous in giving me a legitimate credit in the cast. Like, I don't know. I feel like with my role that I have here, I'm not necessarily that worthy to have my name be placed next to D.C. Douglas, to be honest. So yeah, I do have... Oh yeah, and there are some other people as well. Of course, we got Atif Ali, that's also the sound designer in this movie. So yeah, we do have... It is a small group of people creating this movie, but that's kind of the main thing, is that we have this small group of people creating this animated feature and helping out with Mohammed Ahmed Fikri, bringing his entire vision to life. And I will say right now that it is true that I did follow on Mohammed's adventures when making it, and we have been talking to each other regarding the progress of how things are going, and I did give him a little bit of notes on how this movie is going to be, and also like maybe if there are some things to go and fix up, if there are some things that are good. And I can tell you right now, the most that I have seen, I haven't seen the entire movie in general. I haven't seen the whole movie. In fact, like even the clips over here of the completed animation, these are some of the first times that I've ever seen it. But I can't say so far, I have seen only the first half of the movie, and I've only seen them through storyboards. And I can say right now that this story over here, Sweet Merciful Neptune, it is so compelling, and it really takes you on the edge of your seat. Now, I am not saying this, like, since, like some people might think that, oh, I'm just trying to sell the movie because I'm in it, and of course I'll have a bias for it. But no. This is honestly my general opinion on this film, that honestly, the story that Mohammed has developed, it is freaking crazy. Like, of course you do have a bit of the originality in there, and so far the stuff that you got, oh my god, you are going to be following some characters and the journey that they go through, and you will be experiencing a whole lot of freaking emotions. It will be absolutely nuts on this. And plus the fact, I will say that in terms of the trailer, what it does capture is the intensity. Like, that's one thing that I can definitely say about The Heart of Them, is the fact that it will be an absolutely intense movie where really, like, what's commonplace is that the characters are going to be in a life or death situation, and on top of that, you will see these characters appear in, like, all these different action scenes and chase scenes. Ooh, excuse me. But yeah, they will go and appear in a lot of different action scenes, and you will see the journey of one man in particular who will be played by DC Douglas, and a bit of a heartbreaking journey where, like, how like the power that he got, it just ends up absolutely it just ends up consuming him in a way. And like, you see how his journey would go, and in a way, like, he starts out as very sympathetic, and then you see it's like you're gonna end up in a scenario where you're just gonna look at the guy and it's like, oh my god, what happened to you, man? You were not like this, man. Come on, you were once cool. What's going on, man? What's going on? What happened to you? Like, it is, like, honestly, even for me, like, with the years that I've known about the story, like, it is heartbreaking to see this last scene. Like, I know for some, like, without any context, like, it may seem scary, but oh my god, there's gonna be a lot of layers for this one. So that's why, honestly, with my personal involvement and what I've known already about The Heart of Them, I am highly anticipated to see what Mohammed has in store with this movie, because it is going to be intense. Like, you know what? I'm just going to say, screw me, screw my involvement of this. I only have a small bit in there. This is Mohammed's movie, and he's going to sell this movie hard. He is going to bring this movie to life, and it will be an absolute epic adventure, and that's what I cannot wait. Now, I'm already seeing some people commenting on the fact that they want to know when this is going to be coming out. And in terms of an official release date, that has yet to officially be determined. That is still something that Mohammed is trying to work on. And at the most, he is hoping for a fall release date. He, like, as you could tell, like, he did mark 2019 as the release date, but he is hoping that maybe, there is no guarantee on this, but he's hoping that maybe sometime in the fall there will be an official release date for The Heart of Them, that it can go and start cycling onto different film festivals. So it's going to be that kind of independent animated feature where you're going to see it hop around in some film festivals, and I really do wish him the best of luck. I know that he wants to go and aim for the Toronto Film Festival, so that's going to be a major one, but I really do hope that we can also see it in other of the prominent festivals, you know, like he can submit it to Annecy. That would be pretty great. I'm hoping that maybe, like, he could swing by in Montreal and post it in Fantasia. That would actually be pretty cool. But yeah, and also some people are also stating that, yes, Mohammed is also a patron in my Patreon. Like, he does support me on Patreon as well. And he actually did go and he was actually the person that requested me to go and review The Adventures of Prince Ahmed, the oldest surviving animated feature. So far, I would say that with this movie, it's going to be coming out sometime later in 2019, but I do wish him the best of luck. But this isn't necessarily about me. This isn't necessarily about my thoughts on the movie. I really want to know about your thoughts, and this is something that I really want to ask you more so than anything else that we have talked about in this podcast. I want to know, what do you guys think about this trailer of The Heart of Them? Like, just lay it out, and I really want to know your thoughts. Please get, not just for me, but also give Mohammed some feedback regarding this trailer, and let me know, what do you all think about this, all right? Just lay it out. Don't be shy. Just say what you think about what you've experienced with this trailer. Go right ahead. Come on, really go all out. Okay, let's see. Right now, I really admire independent filmmakers, especially animation, since it's so time-consuming and expensive. One of my dreams is to make my own independent movie, though it's live action. I hope they'll gain success on this. I love seeing diverse people finally make their own movie and hopefully break into mainstream success. I hope he one day makes a major animated film for a studio that is his creation. Alright. Let's see now. The title of The Heart of Them reminds me of Hearts of Men, a song by the late and great Tupac Shakur. Was featured in his greatest hits album in 1998. This trailer is so perfect and it has good compared to Child of Light. There goes the one reason this is true. I could tell that this is going to be the best animated film since How to Train Your Dragon trilogy. By the way, AniMat, you did very good voice acting on this. I'm sorry, what are you talking about, dude? You have yet to hear my voice on this. For the most part, what you have heard is DC Douglas and the other person, the Oracle character that will help out DC Douglas's character. Let's see. Wow, this is giving me Avatar: The Last Airbender Samurai Jack hybrid vibes. It looks very intriguing and can't wait to see more information released for this and an official movie release date. Let's see now. I look forward to seeing this movie and perhaps to show this to my parents. This makes me wish I can independently make a movie, and I would ask you to present an exclusive sneak peek to it. I do have one question. Is this for cinema, direct-to-DVD, or web exclusive? Well, as I stated before, so far, the first thing that Mohammed is gonna go and shoot out is that he's gonna go and release it through festivals. So that's the first thing. Afterwards, I don't know what he's planning to do. Maybe a DVD release date, maybe international distribution. That we'll have to wait and see. Best case scenario, I do hope maybe he can grab the attention of kids and maybe they can pick it up. That would be epic. Let's see now. The Heart of Them looks really, and I'll support Mohammed and the cast and crew members. Okay, well, looks really interesting. I see. This seems interesting, and it looks like it's going to be good. Hope I get to see it soon and be hopeful that this will be good. By the way, congrats on you being in part of the movie and hope to see what your role is. Yeah, like, honestly, if you're going to be excited for the movie, be excited for the film itself. Don't be excited because, like, oh, AniMat's is in it. Honestly, I'm not really all that much there. Okay, let's see now. I'm glad you're going to appear in an independent animated film. Good for you. Now I'm looking forward for this film. I wish, I could be your patron to make you review Freaky Friday 2003. Well, I mean, you never know. Let's see now. Do we have anything else? I'm gonna be honest by how this, let me see. I'm gonna be honest by how this is really dependent to be something released out. I already feel like something like to make my own feature film if I learn how to do animation first, but overall this looks really awesome. I hardly think this looks like a family feature, but it might be awesome to watch. Honestly, I would say maybe not. Oh, this is a little too serious for a family film, and it can get gruesome at times. That I could say that. It's not going to be R-rated, but yeah, this is entering the PG-13 territory. I think I can guarantee that. And I think with all that said, I think that should that should go and conclude this episode of AniMat's Crazy Cartoon Cast. So with all that said, I would like to say thank you all so much for watching. This was definitely a blast to make this episode, and hopefully we shall go and continue this with more craziness and more crazy stories for the next episode. So with all that said and done, I would like to say thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, see you later, dudes!